Welcome back, everybody, to my annual October ranking series. And this year we are counting down my 31 favorite horror movies from the 2010s. At number 29, we have the killer alligator movie, Crawl. I love animal attack flicks. The animal attack genre is my comfort genre. These are the kind of movies that I love to watch after a hard day. Just want to put a movie on and have a good time. I enjoy watching people get attacked and eaten by animals when I want to relax. So you can bet your sweet ass that I was going to find a way to put an animal attack flick on today's ranking series. And so we have the movie Crawl, which I loved when it first came out. This is one of those movies that has a simple premise and they just go with it. You have this woman who's going to try to get her dad because there's a hurricane coming. It takes place in Florida. So she's going to get her dad as this hurricane's coming because he refuses to leave his house or something like that. One thing leads to another. The hurricane comes, the whole place gets flooded, and the two are now being attacked by alligators. It's the daughter, the father, and their dog. Now, I'm going to spoil a bit of this movie, but just because I feel I need to, the dog lives in this movie. The dog does not die in this movie, and as a dog lover, I am okay with that. I know there are people who don't like when dogs die in horror movies because dogs are awesome and they're a lot better than people. Just go on social media and you'll agree, yeah, dogs are better than people. But anyway, so the dog lives, just getting that out of the way. But this is a good, suspenseful movie. And there are a couple parts of the movie that get a bit unbelievable, but I'm not too bothered by it because this is trying to be nothing more than a fun, suspenseful animal attack movie. Whenever water is involved in a movie, I am on edge. I'm very honest about this, but when I was a kid, I almost drowned. So drowning is my number one fear. So whenever water is involved in a movie, especially a horror movie, I'm nervous. I am on edge. I am just going back in my seats, just gripping the sides of my seat. And dear God, if there is a sequence where people have to be underwater for a long period of time, I'm not okay with that. I am not okay with that. Like, when I'm in water, I can swim just fine, but I need to know that, I can put my feet on the ground and have my head above water if I need to. Anytime when people are underwater for a long period of time in a movie, I am having a good time because of the suspense, but I'm also not having a good time because of the suspense. And of course, you throw in alligators or sharks into the equation, I'm just I am happy, but I'm not happy. I mean, I'm happy, I'm having a good time in a suspenseful edge of your seat way, but I'm also kind of not happy because of that. Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I will easily say that alligators and crocodiles, I find them much scarier than sharks. Because alligators and crocodiles they're in the water, but they can also come on land. So in my mind, that makes them an even greater threat. And the movie does a good job at not only making the alligators a threat, but making the weather around them a threat, because this is also a hurricane and everything's flooded, so there's multiple things that you gotta worry about throughout this film. I've heard people say that this is one of those movies where the people are making stupid decisions, and I disagree with that. There's one time early on in the film, I'm gonna just say this once, there's one time early on in the film where the daughter finds her father trapped in the basements because he got attacked by an alligator. and she needs to get her phone or something like that. So she's able to get her phone. They're in an area where they're safe in the basement, away from the alligator, but she has to leave that to get her phone and stuff like that so she can call. Now, she gets her phone, and she then goes off to a point and is watching the alligator and starts trying to call before getting back to the safer space. And people say that's a stupid decision there, which I disagree, because at the time they only think there's one alligator, and she knows where the alligator is, and the alligator is not near her, so she is taking the opportunity to try and call for help. And only then does a second alligator come into the equation. So for me, that's not a stupid decision done to move the plot forward. It's, it's like, because it's a situation where people are not aware of the other danger, because at the time they only think there's one alligator. They don't know there's more than one alligator until after she tries to call for help. So for me, there's a difference between ignorance to a danger and making stupid decisions when you know that there's danger. It's kind of like in a slasher movie, you see a person going into a house where the killer is, and you're saying, oh, you're being stupid, why are you going into that house? But in the movie, there's no way the person would know that the killer is in the house. There's no indication that there's a killer in the house, because the killer is hiding the bodies and cleaning up after himself and stuff like that. So there's no way that the person would know that there's a killer in the house, because there's just no way they would know because of how the situation goes. So there is a difference between stupid decisions moving a plot forward and just not knowing there's danger at the time, because the danger is either hiding itself or you're unaware of the danger given certain circumstances. So this movie was directed by Alexandre Aja, a French filmmaker, the guy who gave us High Tension, The Hills Have Eyes remake, and Piranha 3D. And he was known for making really gory movies, and so some people were disappointed going into this film because it's not as gory as his other movies were. Especially since he's being referred to as this director who makes these really gory movies. So yeah, you would expect this to be a gory movie, but while there is gore in this film, it's not a very gory movie, especially not when you compare it to some of his other movies. But I don't think that's a knock against this film. It's a very different kind of movie. Yes, it's directed by Alexandre Aja, but if you go into this movie expecting a more suspenseful film and not so much a gore fest like his other movies, I think you will not be disappointed. I mean, if you go in expecting an all-out gore fest, you will be disappointed, but if you go in understanding that, yes, this is a suspenseful movie, I think you'll have a good time and you won't be disappointed. But it's a very suspenseful movie. There's some great alligator action. There's some really suspenseful sequences. I personally, like I said, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time I was watching this film, and that is mostly because of my history with water. You get water in a horror movie, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. But Crawl is a fantastic animal attack flick. If you're a fan of animal attack movies, if you're a fan of killer alligator or crocodile movies, this one's worth checking out. There is some gore that will make gore fans happy, but don't expect too much of it. Go in expecting a very suspenseful movie. I had a good time with this. I love and hate when movies have underwater sequences, and that is the biggest compliment I can give to a movie like this. When you have underwater sequences and you have me panicking because of that, that is the best compliment I can give a movie like this.